Free hits are everywhere at the moment. Tab, Boombet, Ladbrokes, Bet365, PointsBet, they're all offering them. Guaranteed bonus bet back if your same game multi or even your horse loses. The bookies are going crazy. They're trying to get you to bet on their apps. And if you're a punter and you're getting sucked into these, you're losing. However, if you're a match bettor, it is presenting huge opportunity. And in this episode of the podcast, we talk about how to capitalize on these promos.
Today, we're going to dive a bit deeper into what promotions we're currently seeing, why the bookies are offering them, and what opportunities it provides to people who know what they're doing in this space. My name's Tom. I'm sitting here with JP and Steve, and we've created and built a community of matched bettors that has just over 1,700 members at the moment. We've made conservatively $50 million as a community off the bookies, and we're going to dive a bit deeper into the topics that I just discussed. So Steve, what are the promos we're seeing at the moment in this space? And I guess, what can we expect to see throughout the season, and why are these promos popping up?
Yeah, well, definitely we started to see, we saw it last year. I reckon the free hit promos that popped up last year were probably the first time they started to show up, maybe 2 years ago, but they weren't as regular as we're seeing now for sure. Obviously, opening round has just kicked off for the AFL and the NRL, and there was free hits on every single game and not just across one bookmaker as well. So last year, I think we only really saw Sportsbet offering free hits. We might have seen other ones pop up, but this week already, we've seen Ladbrokes, we've seen Boombet, we've seen Tab, we've seen Sportsbet, we've seen Crossbet, we've seen free hits on first try scorers, free hits on racing is becoming very popular as well. Bet365 are offering that, Boombet are offering that, Crossbet are offering that, Picklebet are offering that. Just free hits galore. Full-on free hits are going crazy.
For people that are listening to this that might not know what a free hit is, explain to someone listening, what does a free hit promotion mean?
Yeah, so a free hit means that you basically are guaranteed a bonus bet back if your bet loses. So you can put a same game multi on. With most of them, it's a 2-leg minimum requirement, sometimes a 3-leg minimum requirement. For the racing, obviously you can select any horse in the field, and if your selection does not win, you are guaranteed a bonus bet back, which is fully insane. Obviously, over time, it started out as 3-leg same game multis, 1 leg fails, you get a bonus bet back. Now the bookies are just throwing cash at the punter, or throwing such lucrative promotions at the punter, which for people who know how to use them is essentially cash. But they are just trying to suck in the gamblers with these really, really lucrative promotions, which for us match bettors is fantastic.
So why is this happening? Why are we seeing more and more of this, particularly at this time of the year, I guess, or at the start of the season?
Yeah, well, at the moment, it's a lot of craze. There's a lot of hype in the air. It's the start of the season, and everyone is excited. Everyone's watching the footy, and the bookies are trying to get you to punt. They're trying to win you over at the moment. There's a new season. There's a fresh set of 18-year-olds who have never gambled on the AFL, the NRL before, and the bookies want to be their bookie of choice. The bookies want to go, yeah, come and bet with us for the rest of your life. So we're going to suck you in with these really, really crazy, really, really lucrative promotions. And they're all fighting against each other as well, because as it works in the business world, there's a cost to acquire a customer. And then once you acquire a customer, that customer is going to have a certain value for you for the rest of their life. And if the bookies can get you in now at the start of the season when the hype is the highest and all of the bookies are fighting for your market or for you as a customer, then the bookies have to compete against each other. So they're all offering the same promotions. They're all trying to outdo each other. And it means that, unfortunately, the punters, if they're not aware of what they're doing and how they're getting sucked in by what the bookies are offering, they're just simply getting sucked in. But it does present a really good opportunity if you know how to do them.
With all the bookies copying each other, you just said we're seeing a lot of the same promotions across bookmakers that have never offered these kind of promotions before, being the guaranteed bonus bet back for your multi. What does that tell you, JP, about that specific promotion or that type of bet? Why would all of the bookies be copying each other for this type of bet?
Well, firstly, they know that same game multis are super addictive. They potentially can pay you out a massive amount. Obviously, they have a lower probability of happening for the bookmaker side. So it's a dream for the bookie, because they know that, 1, people are going to get addicted to that. 2, they can potentially win a lot. So you're selling hope to poor people, essentially. And then 3, they know that the likelihood of people making money off that type of bet is very low. So for them, it's a dream. I want to talk about the free hit language, because reality is, if you are betting on this and you're a gambler, it is not a free hit, because you're going to gamble your bonus. The bookies would love hearing people calling them free hits, because it's just a numbers game. So the bookie knows that you're going to get a bonus bet back if your bet loses, right? So let's just say $50 punter, the average, I think Sportsbet said that they want to get most punters around that sort of $50 average bet size. So let's just assume people are betting $50 on this. They lose the $50. Guaranteed bonus back means they have a $50 bonus in their account. The bookies know that over the long term, this is an unofficial stat, that they're going to lose the bookie around 12%. Now, if you don't know what that means, if you get a certain amount of bonuses over a long period of time as a punter and you're gambling them in a way that's not any strategic way, just randomly throwing them on other multis and other things, you're going to make 12% over the long term on all of your bonuses. So the bookie loses 12%. So they're happy to give you that 12%, knowing that you're going to lose 100% of your stake, or 70% of your stake, or 50% of your stake, or even 30% of your stake, and get profit over the long term. It's literally numbers. So they're happy to entice you, to give you that, I'm getting a free hit, so that you go and place those bets, knowing that after you lose your multi, or even you win your multi, you're going to go back again and gamble more of your own money. Like Steve said, they're just acquiring you, and then they're getting the most they can out of you. So the language around free hits is dangerous for people who don't turn over their bonuses, because it's not necessarily a free hit. It's a free hit because, you get another bonus, but then you gamble both, you lose. So as a match bettor, it's a free hit because you're reducing your downside. We'll get into that later. It's a massive goldmine for a match bettor, and it's funny how the same promo for a match bettor is so lucrative, and at the same time for a bookie, it's so lucrative because the gambler's losing off it.
Promo aside, why is this all, like, why is the focus of the bookmakers multis? Like, why are multis so profitable, or they're in the lens or the microscope or the focus of the bookie? Like, it's clear that they're trying to shove this down our throats. Why multis? Regardless of the promo, why multis?
Well, it's just preying on humans' desires to have quick fixes, instant gratification, potential high payouts. Reality is, you can't make tens of thousands of dollars potentially off a single, unless you go and stake enormous amount of money, or you chase 150 to 1 pops, which we know are very, very rare of happening. So as a punter, seeing a same game multi or even a multi, you can combine all of your different outcomes together and literally multiply on a multi. So you can add 10 $2 things together and you got an astronomical payout, potentially. And as a result of that, you can now potentially make a lot more money, I keep using the word potentially here, with a low investment. So you're going to keep coming back trying to chase that massive ticket that maybe saves your financial situation for the rest of your life, which we know doesn't happen. And for the bookie, they're essentially just creating this pipe dream where you can make a lot of money off something that they know is low probability.
Yeah, I think the way in which people view multis is interesting. I remember Steve used a good example in a pod we did a while ago when he said, when you look at like the AFL Premiership market or the NRL Premiership market, and you go down the list and you see teams that are paying like 101 to 1. So let's say St Kilda to win the AFL Premiership this year. I would say pretty much anybody that thinks they know anything about AFL would never back St Kilda to win the Premiership this year at 100 to 1. But those same people may build or construct a same game multi with 25 legs that are all $1.05 to $1.30, and they would look at that 100 to 1 odds and think that that is way more likely to win than St Kilda is to win the Premiership. What is there anything in that? Like, how do you explain to someone that those odds are the same?
Yeah.
Illusion of expertise.
There's a few. Illusion of expertise for sure being the main one is the beauty of same gamers and same game multis and betting on sport is that everyone thinks they know more than what they do, straight up. And people have been watching sport since they're 8, they're 10, they're 12. And so this fuels the ego of the punter as well. Because not only is it, you can win a potential huge payout off a really tiny stake, but hey, put your skill and your knowledge to the test. Take us on. You think you know a bit about the footy, you think you know a bit about the NBA, you think you're better than your mates or you know more about the sport, well, put your money on the line, put your money where your mouth is. And so then it really fuels on the ego, particularly of the young ego male, because they want to be seen as, I'm the footy god, or I'm the NBA god, or I know what's going on. And so they say, yep, sweet. Then you can do it all in one game, one multi. And then when you look at individual selections of Nick Dacos to get 25 disposals and Bo McCreary to kick a goal and Finn Callahan to get 5 centre clearances. Not that you can bet on that, I don't think, but you probably will be able to soon. But you go, oh yeah, that's going to happen because Dacos averages 27. And yeah, McCreary, he kicks a goal he kicks one from the wing every week. I swear, I see it happen all the time. And so all of these individual plays, you think, these things should happen. But probability literally says when you combine lots of things happening and you need every single one of them to hit or else you lose, then probability says then it's probably most likely not going to happen. But individually, on any individual selection, yes, that should happen. But when you combine them all together, no, probability says you literally should not be winning this bet.
Yeah, it's a good point you make because I'm certain, and I reckon we even polled it on our Insta not that long ago. Like, what do you think's more likely to happen, the 101 NRL Premiership or the 100-1 10-leg multi with all $1.20 legs? And I think it was like a resounding, the multi's way more certain to happen, when in reality, the odds would suggest that they're exactly the same likelihood. And if anything, there may be more edge. Now we're probably too deep into the weeds here, but there's probably more edge taken out of the multi-markets and those each individual legs. When you take Dacos for $1.05 to have 20, he probably should be $1.09 or whatever, but they give you $1.05. And then when you combine all of those legs where you're getting shitter odds than you should and you're multiplying them all together, the odds of your multi, you're just multiplying them, become shitter and shitter and shitter and shitter. And then that 101 that you build is probably or should probably be 140 or 150 to 1, but you don't know that because the way in which they construct the odds are just made up. Every bookie does it differently.
And that is another thing why the bookies absolutely love them. And they have admitted that they love them there's a few reasons, but I reckon this is a critical part, is the odds are full on just made up.
Well, same game multi. Specifically, he was talking about multis then, where they're actually, if you grabbed a leg from each game, then it's going to multiply. But yeah, same game multis fully made up.
Particularly same game multis, because obviously you've got computer models and all that jazz, and the bookies are very good and the computer models are very good at predicting the outcome of an event. So Carlton v Richmond, they're very good at predicting the chances of Richmond winning, the chances of Carlton winning, and therefore they can very accurately predict what the odds are that they should offer. But when you're throwing in a lot of legs that are dependent on each other or correlated and one can impact the other. For instance, Harry Mackay to kick 2 goals, who obviously plays for Carlton, with Sam Walsh to get 25 disposals, with Richmond winning. If all of those things happen, well, if Harry Mackay kicks 2 and Sam Walsh gets 25, you'd reckon Carlton are going to be doing pretty well because they're both Carlton players for the non-AFL listeners. And so then for Richmond to win as well, they're a combination of events that are they don't go together. They're uncorrelated. Because if Harry's kicking 2 and Richmond wins, that means Richmond have to play really well because Harry's had a good game as well. So there's a bit of confusion there. So when you create a same game multi and you throw all these legs together, they all interrelate and they all talk to each other. So the odds that the bookies are making in their computer models are basically just guessing what odds they're giving you. And you see this across the bookies as well, because you see Sportsbet and Tab, the same game multi, will offer very, very different odds. And Ladbrokes will offer very, very different odds, and PointsBet will offer very, very different odds, which says that they've all just got their own models. When it comes to a singular event of Carlton v Richmond, their odds are very, very similar because their models are all very accurate. Whereas their same game multi-models that they're building to develop your odds are just full on guessing. And unfortunately, this is where it goes back to what we were saying before. This is really, really beneficial for the match bettors and really, really beneficial for the 0.1% of punters who
even
know
pro punters,
pro
for sure.
punters,
yeah.
Match bettors, pro punters, people who know the discrepancies in these models and the discrepancies in these odds. It creates a really, really profitable opportunity. But for the punters, for the 99%, they have no idea. So they're just getting absolutely shafted because they're just looking at it. And I even saw Bet365 as well. I noticed their same game multi-builder at the moment. No longer do they show you. If you've selected one leg with Bet365, when you're going through and looking for a second leg to add into the same game multi, it doesn't have the odds of the individual leg. It has the odds of what your multi will be if you add that leg.
Interesting.
So you might have total points over 45 points or something, and then you go first try scorer. It'll show next to the first try scorer selection, it'll show $28 or something. That's not what they rate as the odds of that leg. That's the odds that you will get if you combine those 2 legs together. So as a punter, you're looking at that. You're like, I have absolutely no fucking idea now. Like, you are completely thrown by what is a fair bet, what are good odds, what are good value, because they're just completely hiding it from you essentially. So all of these things combined just make a same game multi a full-on bookie's dream. And I've actually got a stat here that was really interesting. This was written by Flutter, Flutter basically own Betfair, FanDuel, Sportsbet. They're probably the biggest online sports betting conglomerate in the world. And they released an article. So these guys own Sportsbet, and they are literally admitting this. They are saying that from 2019 to 2023, the percentage of dollars staked on same-game bets, same-game parlays, increased from 19% to 25% across everything that's staked. So for every single bet that was placed, same-game multis made up 19% in 2019, and then they made up 24% in 2023. This is only 2023 as well, so it's only gone further, you'd have to imagine. With that, in that very same time, the margins that the bookies made, aka their edge, how much they were taking off the punter, increased from 13% to 18.5%. So in that time, same-game multis have massively gone up. The popularity of same-game multis has massively increased. And the bookies are basically admitting that, yes, this is really, really profitable for us. We've got the figures here, and we're going to keep rinsing the punters because of it.
Yeah, those are elite stats. I just wanted to rewind on the correlating, contradicting legs, whatever it may be. And for those that are sitting at home, maybe not 100% sure, an easy way for you, if you're listening to this right now, to understand what Steve is referring to, if you jump into your Sportsbet app, your Tab app, whatever, and you build a normal multi, so you put a $2 leg and a $2 leg in your multi, you're going to get $4 odds. Whereas if you build a same game multi and you put $2 odds and $2 odds in the same game multi, if those two legs are working together, for example, you have someone to score a try and the team that guy plays for to win the game, you will find that $2 times $2 spits out less than $4 odds. However, if you do the same thing and you put that guy to score a try or that guy to kick a goal at $2 and then the team to win at $2, and the team that you have to win is the opposite team for the goal scorer or the opposite team for the try scorer, that 2 times 2 will give you higher than $4 odds. So for those that want to visually see that and understand how that works and why it's different to a normal multi, I just thought that might have been a nice way in which you can have a look at that. We've discussed they're pumping same game multis. We've just seen the stats. Same game multis are printing the money. That's why we're seeing these have a bonus bet, have a crack at this, do that, and all the bookies are copying. So we know that is the bookies' motive and why they're trying to get punters to do that. What does that mean? You briefly just touched on it then, Stephen. It's a good segue. If you know what you're doing, whether you're a match bettor, taking advantage of the promotions, the specials, the bonuses, or you're somebody that has a data model or whatever it may be, you're a pro punter, you can find the discrepancies in the markets because all the bookies do their odds differently. What opportunities are now presenting themselves to people who know what they're doing or have an idea in which they can make money off the landscape currently? Like, what does it mean now, this shift? Guaranteed bonus back, same game multis. What does it mean for, let's say, for match bettors to start?
For match bettors, I start with that because that's what we are, and I'm not a pro punter in the way you're describing it there, nor do I want to try and comment on it. But for a match bettor, the way that I see it is that the skill level for a match bettor, or the necessary skill level for a match bettor right now, is higher than it has ever been, in my opinion. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, all you needed was two-way Dutching. You basically made a lot of your money initially from two-way Dutching. That was the only method that you needed initially. That's the most fundamental skill now. If you don't two-way Dutch now, you're not match betting. That's a reality. Now, as a match bettor, you have to have a much higher skill level in order to capitalise on the opportunity. If you have lower level, you're probably going to get your bookies banned a lot quicker. You might only be able to capitalise on the deposit offers, and there's not as many deposit offers. The free hit same-game multis, I think, require a higher skill level, the highest skill level that we've seen over the last 5 or 10 years. However, whether or not it presents the greatest opportunity, I'm not too sure if you guys have any opinions there, but definitely in terms of the amount of money you can make off them compared to, say, horse promos, I'd say they're a lot more. But once again, you have to have more of a skill level. So the opportunity it's presenting is you can make a lot of money, but you need to know essentially how you're doing it and if you're doing it right, because it's a bit different. You can't hedge a same game multi. It's not like with horse promos, you can potentially go and back a horse and then you can go and lay that same horse on Betfair, so you can have a really, really minimal risk, and you profit when your horse comes second or third, you get your bonus and then you turn it over. With same game multis, you can't, there's no real method to hedge your same game multi. So essentially you are outlaying your full amount and you might lose. That bet might lose. However, the beauty of free hits is that your downside is massively capped because the worst case scenario is you lose 20% of your stake. How that happens is you outlay, say, 1 unit, you outlay $50. Worst case scenario, you get a $50 bonus bet back, and you can turn that over. You turn that $50 bonus bet into $40, so you've lost $10. So that's the opportunity that's presented, but it still does come with a bit of a risk because there is a bit more. If you don't know what you're doing, you could get sucked down this, am I just gambling at the moment? Is there any system to what I'm doing? Is there any, am I betting with an edge? If you don't know and you're not confident with what you're doing, it can be a bit trickier, and that's obviously what requires the higher skill level.
I'll add to that as well. When you said all of those things about making the money off the same game multis and having higher skill level, fully agree. I think to even simplify it further, where the most of the profits are going to come from is the fact that you are turning over your bonus. So instead of going into the same game multi with a $50 risk, you're going in with a $10 risk. If you're turning over the bonus at 80%, you're going to get back 40, right? So you're essentially creating an opportunity where you are betting on whatever odds you choose to do, whether that be $2, $2.50, $3. So you have the full potential to win whatever the stake times the odds is. That's your profit, but then you only lose a fifth of that stake. So over the long term, essentially what you're doing is you're creating 5 opportunities for every one, if that makes sense, for every one loss. Because you need 5 $10 losses in a row to be the same as a punter who's doing a same game multi without a bonus back where you lose $50. 10 times 5 is 50. So all that does is every time you lose a multi, same game multi, you're getting back 40 instead of losing the 50. So you're just putting money back in your pocket. And instead of winning the bets, you're just getting recouped funds. So let's just pretend that every time you spent $50 at the supermarket, you get back 40. Like you're literally net 40 every time. So in the long term, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to make money, right? And you don't make money by making more. You essentially make money by losing less. And that's where a lot of, I think, non-match bettors struggle to understand it because they can say, well, that's gambling because you lose the bet. But it's like, no, yeah, you lose the bet, but then you got $40 back. And then when you win the bet, you literally cash in, and that's your difference there. And it just net over the time is like lose less, and then win, lose less. And then over the time, it's just going like up. And it's literally free money if you know what you're doing. And you don't have to have a super high skill to be able to do this. Even if you're a punter, like I'm not encouraging you to do same gamers, but if you are doing them anyway, and Tom loves saying this, it's just like every time you lose your $50, get back your 40 or get back your 30. If you're turning it over on two-way Dutch, you're going to get 60%. Get back your $30 instead of just losing your 50 and then donating your average of 12% or so that the bookies want you to do.
Yeah. I think the capping downside is the critical part, is that people really do struggle to understand. And I think it's a hard concept to grasp, is understanding that you are profiting by capping your downside.
Yeah.
Generally, people think when you're beating the bookies or you're making money off the punt, you're finding an odds value that is higher than what the bookies should be offering. So you've got a higher upside there than what the bookies are offering, if that makes sense. Generally, I think that's the way people would think you profit in anything financial.
You got to win more.
You got to win more. Yeah. When you buy a stock, you're expecting that stock to rise, and that's how you're winning. Everyone thinks you got to win more to profit, whereas with multis and same game multis and promotions, honestly, almost in general, horse promos, sport promos particularly, you're profiting because when you lose, you don't lose as much. Your upside remains the same, but when you lose, you don't lose as much. You cap your downside. $1 saved is $1 earned, and that ultimately means in the long term, you get all those reps in, you do it infinite times, you come out with infinite money.
Well, the matched bettor versus the gambler, I guess, scenario is those two people, the match bettor and the gambler, they can place the same $50 bet on the same bet, and they can both lose. So they both lose $50 on the exact same transaction. The only reason that the match bettor comes out on top in the long term is because when they get that bonus bet back, they put money back into their pocket. The gambler gambles. The gambler's going to lose in the long term because that's the way that the market's designed. The match bettor doesn't even buy into that secondary market. They just simply put the money back in their pocket and go again. So these two individuals, the gambler and the match bettor, can place 100 of the same bets. And if 100 times they both lose, and then the gambler gambles all of his bonuses and turns it over or assumes that 12.5% that they're going to get back, and the match bettor gets 60% back at a lower level, 80% at a higher level. That's the difference. That's the profit. Now, obviously, once you start adding in winning bets, even if they place identical bets, and then they start turning a profit, or even if both of these bettors broke even from their cash betting, but then one guy gambles all his bonuses and returns 12.5% and the other guy returns 80%, That's the difference, and that's where the profit is. And a lot of people, as you said, they're chasing these big wins, but the reality is if you're betting on something at $2 odds, you're going to lose 50% of the time. So you're both still going to lose 50% of the time. But if 50% of the time when you lose, you get back 80% of what you lost, you're going to be so far ahead in the long term. And that's a fundamental skill that is taught to match bettors early days. And once people grasp that understanding, they then look at the market and then they look at these promos that we're seeing, or they look at these, it's even seeping into racing. Like you said, Bet365, race one, usually in Vic or New South Wales track. If you bet on your horse and it loses, have a bonus bet back. So you instantly look at that and you go, okay, cool. I can have a $50 bet knowing that the worst case scenario is I get a bonus bet back, and I'm going to turn that bonus bet into $40, which means I'm having a $10 bet with a $50 bet payout. Mm-hmm. If I do this 100 times, there's no world where I don't make a profit.
Let's break that down for a second, because that's a really good concept to show people a different way of looking at how profitable it is. You've put a $50 bet down. Let's say the horse is paying $3. Anyone listening can quickly work out, well, if that horse wins, you get $150 back. But as you just said, we're only risking $10 theoretically. We're only actually putting $10 of our own money, because if the horse loses, we get the $50 bonus bet back. We turn that over. We've walked away with only a $10 loss. So essentially, we're placing a $10 bet for a $150 payout, which when you look at it from an odds point of view, that's essentially $15 odds. You're placing $10 down at $15 odds to get a $150 payout. We've just increased the odds of that horse from $3 to $15. However, the big but right there, or the big disclaimer, is you have to turn over your bonus bet. If you're not turning over your bonus bet, you're just playing straight into the bookies' hands, because you're going back onto their app, you're fueling the addiction of placing another bet, you're potentially scrolling to see if there's any other markets that you want to bet on, and you're just throwing away the bonus bet, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. So if you can control that discipline within yourself, you can just take those higher odds or cap your downside, whichever way you want to look at it, and you walk away with money.
Well, you just presented everyone with an opportunity or a choice. If you went to bet on a horse tomorrow and you jump on your sports bet app and the horse is paying $3, and then you jumped on your tab app just to have a look and the horse was paying $15, which app are you going to use? You're going to use the $15 app. So that's when you see that opportunity, you get a bonus bet back guaranteed. If you gamble the bonus, you're selecting the $3 odds. You're not selecting the $15 odds for the exact same scenario. And I think that's a great explanation, and people looking at that, just understand what you are doing and the opportunity that presents itself if you use that promotion correctly. The skill level that you spoke about being high, like you need a higher skill level now to potentially capitalize on all of these opportunities. The skill in itself, I don't think comes, and a lot of people would think this, it doesn't come in like building the multi. Like we did a webinar last week and we were speaking about these are the odds that you should shoot for. What you put in there is not as relevant right now. What you just need to understand is the upside downside of getting the bonus bet back, right? The skill level comes from the discipline that's required to continue to turn your bonuses over and to not get emotional about the result of the actual bet. Because we know that the only value in using the promotions comes in the long term. Because if you bet on a bet where you're guaranteed to get a bonus bet back, it can lose. That particular transaction can lose. So if you then don't take the actions that are required to cash in on that value, aka turn the bonus bet over in the long term, you'll just lose. You just end up becoming a gambler. JP speaks on this pretty often about why this promo exists, and we did briefly touch on it previously, but it's that whole secondary act that is required from a match bettor in order to cash in the value. And this is where the gambler falls down, even if they place the same bets. Why? There's obviously some thought process behind this promotion and why bookmakers encourage this happening, right? Because people are listening to this going, why would a bookie give you an opportunity to get a bonus bet back if I can convert it for 80% and only risk $10 on a $50 bet? How the fuck are the bookies making money on this, and why wouldn't everybody do that? So why is that promo there?
Yeah, so the promo says that if you lose, you're going to get a bonus bet back, right? You have to turn that bonus bet over. If you're a match bettor, you turn it over at 80%. However, what they're doing is they're guaranteeing a second bet. If you let the bonus expire, that's the only way that you wouldn't bet again. Now, if you are a gambler, you are going to most likely not know match betting exists, or you don't want to get the $40 back or the $30 back, your 80% or your 60%. You're going to go and try and chase a thing that's way bigger. That's what they want you to do, and that's why they have that unofficial 12%. They expect to lose 12% on that second bet. However, what they're doing is they're guaranteeing you have another iteration of a bet or a look on their app. And what that does is it creates a habit, and then it feeds more into that addiction cycle. So even if you, for example, if you win the bet, right? People are saying, well, if you win the bet, you don't have to bet twice. Well, what happens when gamblers win bets? They don't just stop and withdraw their money. Most of the time, I'm playing with free money. I'm going to have another crack, and then they make $250 off that first bet, and then they go and put another $150 next time, and then next minute they got back to zero again. So you're guaranteeing not only one bet, but most likely two, and then even 3 or 4 if they're winning. As someone who loses that bet, the best one is when it happens on a day before, for example. This is my favorite thing. It's like the bet loses on the Friday night, and then you go to bed at 11 o'clock, your bonus bet comes in the next morning, you might come in straight away, but you've already gone to bed. And then you log into your sports bet app, and then you see this $50 bonus, and you think, fuck, like, cool, I'm going to have another crack here. It's a free crack, but you forgot you lost your $50. So you're down 50, you've got your bonus, you're looking to turn that into 500 or 1,000. All of a sudden, you think you're playing with free money, but you've already lost it, and now you've bet twice. And then the best part is if that multi or whatever you place that second bet on gets really close, all of a sudden you're now addicted to potentially winning again. And then it just created this, they're just farming addiction at a greater level. And that's why they're happy to give it to you, free money for a match better, knowing that most people, 99% of people, are not going to take advantage of that bonus, and they're just going to get more addicted. Then they're just literally getting you back on their app more and more, and the longer they have you on their app, the more you're gambling, the more you're losing, the more they make. That's as simple as it is. And you broke it down really well. You literally get free money, yet it is so lucrative for the bookie at the same time. These promos are full-on free money. They're such high expected value because of the edge that you're getting. You're literally getting a massive edge, yet at the same time, these promotions are printing money for the bookie. It's so fascinating because there's a transfer of, whether you want to call it wealth or money, goes from match bettors who are a tiny amount, and then it's just going from punter, and then it's getting transferred across, and the bookie's just collecting in the middle. And the punter's just getting hammered. It's so fascinating how they do it.
Sorry to cut in here, guys. If you're enjoying this discussion and you want to learn more about what match betting is, how it works, how you can capitalize on some of the promotions to make money, I recommend going and doing our free course. It's a super interactive, hopefully engaging free course where you will be taught how to make your first $1,000 completely risk-free from match betting. The link is in the description. Check it out. Back to the show.
So, same game multi, guaranteed bonus bet back. Then you've got 3-leg same game multi, guaranteed bonus bet back. We're even seeing head-to-head 3-leg multi, guaranteed bonus bet back. First try scorer, first goal scorer, guaranteed bonus bet back. UFC, if you back your fighter and it loses, guaranteed bonus bet back. Racing, if you back a horse and it loses, guaranteed bonus bet back, right? Opportunities galore. Autumn racing carnival, AFL, NRL season kicking off. Is this the most profitable period that we've ever seen in match betting? Yes or no? And why or why not?
I would say yes, I think. But I don't know because I wasn't around in 2014. Probably not, to be honest, because of those World Cup special promos where you could have infinite stake on early payout and stuff. That probably would be, I don't know. I wasn't around for that. But I would say definitely over the last 5 years. From my match betting journey and my experience, I would say yes. Purely because free hits, I would say, are, if you know how to use them correctly, probably about double as profitable as a 3-leg, 1-leg fail promo. And that's been the sport promo of the last few years. 1-leg fails, you get a bonus bet back. Free hits, I'd say, are double as profitable in terms of ROI, profit on turnover, whichever metric you want to use. And you couple that with the fact that so many bookies are now offering them as well. So you combine those two things together and I'd say you can easily get down on one set of accounts on a weekend. You could probably easily get down, particularly these early couple of rounds, I'd say $500, $700 worth of money turned over with a free hit promotion attached to it, which if you use it correctly will net you about $350 profit
in the long term.
Yep. Which is just insane. Per one set of accounts is fully insane. And that's at a platinum level understanding of match betting as well. The more experience you get and the more aware you are of other methods, the more profitable that becomes.
With the 700 that you could potentially outlay using these promotions where you know for the whole 700 that you outlay, you're going to, worst case scenario, you get $700 worth of bonus bets back. Mm-hmm. That is you, quick math off the top of my head, meaning you're having $700 of bets for a total risk of $140.
That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you have the upside of the $700 worth of outlay obviously, there's a fair chance based on the odds range that a few of these are going to win as well. So if you collect $140 from your $700 outlay in cash, you've already broken even on the round, whereas the gambler would be down $560 if they're punting their bonuses. So just thinking about it like that, it's like, holy shit, the upside that presents itself there. If I can do that for 5 rounds, then who knows how much I'm going to make. Now, we know that throughout the season, there aren't going to be as many opportunities. It's usually absolute Christmas now, first probably month to 6 weeks of the season. Then they've built in those habits, like JP said. Then they've got you betting your multis on a Friday night anyway. Then they'll wind it back, and it won't be guaranteed bonus bet back. It'll only be a bonus bet back if you miss by 1 leg or if it's at a certain odds, whatever. The bookies aren't stupid. They can't just keep printing this value for the whole year. But they'll build you into the type of punter that they want you to be, and then they'll just leave you to your own devices and you'll do what you need to do. So that's huge. I guess my question probably didn't have enough parameters. I agree that in the golden age where there was uncapped promotions, it's probably easier for those big boys to make serious amounts of money. But I would say if you have a bankroll of $5,000 or less, which a lot of people that would be betting or starting match betting would have, I don't think those promos probably back in the day would be as lucrative to those type of punters. And maybe the situation that we're faced with now is the most profitable, or the most opportunity we've ever seen for that level of match better, just because of literally what you're referring to.
Yeah, dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
Dollar for dollar.
Pound for pound, dollar for dollar. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, probably dollar for dollar, it's the most profitable period of match betting.
100%. The edge is by far the greatest because there was never guaranteed bonus back. It was a potential to win a lot because it was uncapped. But yeah, dollar for dollar, 100% way bigger edge right now.
Yeah, there's no cap downside in those other scenarios. Yeah. I like that.
Well, in the early payouts, it technically was because you're not going into it with full risk. But this is, you are getting the edge given to you. And it's way more than the second and third bonus back because you're not guaranteed a bonus back. There's potential that you lose your whole stake. With these, yeah, like you said, it's a 20% risk on your bet for a full upside. Yeah. It's fucked.
It is, yeah, it's crazy. It's a good opportunity for people that are just entering into this space who, I said to a guy last night that I know that went to high school with me and he just joined Platinum. And he was saying, he's like, I've been seeing some of your stuff, and ever since I saw some of your stuff, I can't not see all of these promos. I didn't know that some of these bookies existed, and I'm seeing these ads, and I'm seeing this promotion here, or that he saw the try scorer from Ned's get a bonus bet back, and he asked me, can I use this? And it's funny, once you understand what you're actually doing, and then you go, okay, I'm going to look for these opportunities. They're actually fucking everywhere. There's 114 bookies on the Platinum Squad bookie list. There'd be a lot of people listening to this that maybe even dabbled in match betting that might have used 15 bookies, and they're like, I'm pretty much capped out. It's like, bro, there's still 100 to go. There's so many opportunities in this space, and I reckon dollar for dollar, pound for pound, when you add in how many bookies there are, how many bookies doing the same promos, the type of promos that exist right now, I don't think, especially sub probably 10K bankroll, there's ever been a greater opportunity for people to make money in the match betting space. Let's dive into our community a little bit. I think we've done really well in generalizing what's happening in the space, what opportunities present themselves, depending on the decision that you make as a punter. What are we seeing within our community? We did a promo awareness webinar last week, just explaining, showing what's available in the space and how to use it so that people are looking around going, oh, now I can use this, now I can use this, now I can use this, which is everywhere. But in particular, I would say sport promos was probably the biggest weakness of our community 6 to 12 months ago. Then we put in a lot of time and effort, got Dennis on board. We did it with Lenny for a while, but then we really invested in kind of Dennis and getting this program and opening up more to members of our community to expose themselves to what sport promos offer. What are we now seeing in the community, whether it's the new sport members or just people writing in the Discord in the sport promo section in general? What does sport promos add to match betting as a whole?
It's a good question. I'll say what I think is one of the biggest advantages of it. I don't have a heap to add to this question, but I think the beauty of sport promos, obviously it's adding up a whole nother level of income. Obvious one is that, you're diversifying your income. You're not just hitting horse promos, you're hitting sport promos as well. So you're just getting 2 revenue streams, 2 income streams. Obviously, not only is that good for your profit, but it's also good for the emotions as well, because, as much as we don't like talking about days and weeks and short-term results and stuff like that, if you are following 2 different services, or if you've got 2 different income streams, if, the horse promos over a 2 or 3 month period have a bit of a quieter period, but the sport promos are booming, then it sort of all evens itself out. So your variance gets nullified a little bit as well, which is always good. As much as we like to say, don't worry about it, it's just variance, emotions. At the end of the day, humans are humans. We are going to feel emotions, and that is inevitable. So this just helps control the emotions and control the discipline, because you've always generally got one income stream that is often firing. So that's one thing that's really nice. Second thing that I find that a lot of people are commenting on as well is the fact that the sports promos are just so easy as well. Super efficient, super easy to place. You've got plenty of time before the game to get the plays on. And so it's very much making, I think, match betting something that you can do in less and less hours per week. You can heavily focus on sport promos. And obviously the big dogs, the people who are making large amounts of money, they're obviously doing horse and sport too. But for some people who are fathers, they got kids, they got weekend sport, a lot of them are just choosing, at this period of my life, I don't have the time to set aside on Saturdays, so I can't follow the horse system, or horse promos aren't for me, or maybe I just do a bit of my own horse promos on the side, but sport promos is where I'm going to focus my energy towards, because the reward for time and effort put into it is massive compared to horse promos as well, which just means that more people can get involved, more people can make money, and more people can do it really on the side, and it doesn't really consume them. But then obviously, if they want to go to those huge levels, they can capitalise on both promos.
It's a lot less hands-on, a lot
sure.
more set and forget type thing. Like if you invest 30 minutes and you do it properly and you take advantage of what's on offer, you've got to wait for the game to result anyway. Whereas horse racing is very next to go, because it's like opportunity. And even if you are going down the set and forget model, you end up having a lot of your bonus bets kind of accumulate up over a period of time. Whereas sport, like you said, it might be 15 bets across the whole weekend, and that's Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. It might be 10 minutes a day setting it up and making sure you're doing the right thing. And then you might be able to spend 10 minutes the next day with the 2 or 3 bonus bets that you have to then turn them over whilst you're setting up the next ones. And that's the feedback that we get from everybody, whether they're in the services or not, just them realizing that it's like, it's so much, like there isn't like 3 minutes until the jump. Like they don't have to scan Betfair. They're not doing any of these things. It's like, yep, you jump in, you build this. That's correct. I know if I use my bonus bet correctly, I'm going to be making money long term. Put this, and then I just turn my phone off, or I go play footy or whatever, go hang out with the kids. So I agree. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of light bulb moments that are happening right now in our Discord. Obviously, we've had 250 or so people jump in this year already into Platinum, which is huge. But I think there was a weakness in people being able to make money off these kind of promotions, just with whether it's a lack of knowledge, experience, skill, but we have been pushing the idea of making a little bit more money straight away when you join this community. And I think that's waking people up to the momentum that brings, like jumping in, using the bookie list, signing up to the bonuses on there. There's over 4 or 5K worth of bonuses on that bookie list, 110 bookies. And then you start to realize all of the opportunities that come your way once you open up more bookies. So you're getting sent emails, you're seeing these things getting thrown to you via text, and then you're seeing people talk about them in the community. There was a promotion on MintBet that our community absolutely hammered for a good 2-3 weeks period on the BBL. And that was funny how one person found it, then the next person saw it, and then it was just a full-on piss take for about, a week and a half, where everyone was just like, I made $300, I made $200, I made $300, I made $500, I made $1,200. And it was just like, these are the opportunities when you have a community that people will tell each other, and then it's like, fuck, I want to be part of that as well. And then now with the webinar that you and Greenie did last week was elite. We had, I think, double the amount of views ever on a webinar, because it was just very engaging and teaching people how to make money off the promotions for sport. And then, like Steve said, it's no longer a reliance on just horse, or a reliance on, even though it's a long-term thing, a reliance on if you don't make the profit that you want in your head in the short term for a month or two and it goes quiet, you now have the extra ability to make money. And it just gives you that justification that you're on the right track. Because if we're sitting around doing match betting and you've made a leaner period where you make $1,000 in 2 months or $1,000 in 3 months, which will happen, and then you make 5K in a month one time, it evens out over time. But if you get through that first 3 months and you kind of give up after that 1K wasn't enough to justify your hours and all that, which happens, it's then like, oh, fuck it, it's not worth it sort of thing. I can go and work at Bunnings for $40 an hour and guarantee myself money. But if you stick through it now, because you know that you have a number of different income streams, now all of a sudden it becomes way more lucrative, and you are getting the actual reward in the short term. As much as we don't like to be about instant gratification, you're actually getting paid sooner because you know how to use these promos. So I think it's game changing for people to be able to use this stuff and know how to do it, because you're just fast tracking your ability to make more money, and then that opens up more opportunities, not only within our community, but just match betting in general. Like if you're not in our community, you're still going to be able to make money if you're doing things right.
So let's say someone's got to the end of this now, they were curious enough to watch it, they wanted to know what was going on, they've never done match betting before, you just spoke about our community. Where would someone go, or what would someone do if they've never match bet before but they've somehow made it to this part of the podcast?
If you've never match bet before and you're sitting listening to this, I assume you wouldn't know how to do a bonus turnover. So I'd be sending you to our free course. Our free course was filmed, again, brand new, end of 2024. 6 videos within an hour. You'll have a roadmap to making $1,000. So you'll have not only the videos explaining you step by step, literally walk through how to turn a bonus over. We then give you a bookie list. We then teach you how to turn your real cash over so that you can withdraw it. We then introduce some basic concepts around defense and sustainability so you're not getting banned. But at the end of that hour, you're going to know how to make $1,000 once. And then in video 6, about a 30-minute video, it literally breaks down how our platinum community, which is our, I guess you can call it our paid community, they have joined to make at least $1,000 every month after that. So we're going to teach you how to use the promotions. We have over 15 hours of content and 1,700 members in there. And then once you learn how to make the $1,000, prove to yourself, turn some bonuses over, make $200-300. If you want to make the full 1,000, you can go through the bookie list. You can well and truly do that to prove to yourself it works. And then once you see it work, if you want to then start making at least 1,000, and keywords there at least, because like I said, once you start making 1,000, you'll start learning how to make 1,500 and then 2K and then 3K. And then there are people making a lot more than that in our community. So that's where I'd start, free course. And then if you want some help, obviously you can book free call. We've got 2 guys that have both made over 200K with us. They're absolute weapons. You can jump on the phone with them for free. You can jump in the Discord. You can ask us questions. You can DM us on Instagram. All those things, if you want the help. We do have a bit of a point of difference with our personalization. So all I would say is if you're not making money in the space right now, I think I agree with Tom and Steve. It is potentially the best time to be a match bettor ever, just because of the dollar for dollar edge that you're getting right now with the promotion. So yeah, if you need to find the link to our free course, you can jump in the description and find it. And if you need anything else, feel free to go around our channel and have a look at the other videos. There's plenty of value being given, I think.
Yeah, for those people, if you do end up finishing the free course as well, we will flick you a text. Again, Max and Fudge are available via text. So if that's something you prefer doing, just reply back to the text, fire any of your questions through. So that's for someone that's never done it and made it to here. What about someone that's watching this now that is already match betting? Maybe they're making a couple of grand a month. Is there any value or anything that we can provide to those individuals that are potentially thinking about getting involved? We've seen a few of them come across our page and jump into the DMs recently.
Assuming you're not a platinum member, is that what you're saying? Yes. If you're not a platinum member, like I said, that's where you're going to get the most, I guess, foundational knowledge around match betting. I would say that a lot of people aren't aware of the value of a community and also like value of ongoing support. So for example, like the weekly webinars now, that's something we added in August last year, 2024. We've now up to webinar number 31 this week. And they have been a full-on game changer in terms of the vibe in the community. I think both of you would agree. Just getting people consistently in there has been elite, because as a match bettor, if you're making like your 1-2K a month, sometimes you can get a little bit lonely or not really understand what to do, or you may have a desire to potentially gamble or lack discipline. And that's where our community has had a massive point of difference since day one, focusing on the mindset, the foundations, the bankroll management, making sure that you're sticking to a structure and staying disciplined, because the bookies know that match betting exists. And this is a funny thing. They will actually back themselves in to, even though you might make some money off the match betting promotions when you start out, they will back themselves in to try and eventually get you. And if you don't have the correct mindset, you can end up losing money and end up becoming a gambler. So I would say that if I was match betting, going back in time, I would want to be part of something that is keeping me accountable and keeping me structured and even doing things for me. So for example, if you are struggling to find the plays, right, that is probably the hardest thing about what we just discussed. Like the promos are there, you're guaranteeing yourself a $40 back or a $30 back for every $50 bonus bet. But then how are you finding the plays? And that's where Steve mentioned it, the plays that we are sending out through our sports system, which is also part of Platinum. If you choose to join that, I think there's about 250 people in that now.
Yeah.
Like that deletes the thinking, the thought process, the strategy. Like you just show up, get the play because we've done the play for you, and then you just follow and direct your energy. And you can genuinely follow that and do it for, I would say, max 2 hours a week and make conservatively 1 to 2K a month easily. And if you want to take the thinking out of, if someone who's busy, someone who's playing footy on the weekends, and you don't want to fuck around looking at markets, working out your own things, that's something that I think is massively benefit and it's been a massive convenience for a lot of people.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that as well because it just sort of had the idea. I reckon the sports system is fantastic. I don't know whether we've said this publicly, so we can cut this out if we need to. But the sports system is awesome because obviously it takes the time and energy away and it teaches you how to use sport promos. But some people are like, no, I already know how to use the sport promos. Some people know how to use the sport promos and they still sign up to the sports system anyway. So it's really valuable for people who have no idea how to use the sport promos to learn the concepts, learn the structure, learn the process, learn everything. And then some people go, you know what, I'm happy doing it my own way. I'm not going to join the sports system. For those people, so be it. That's fantastic. Whatever. I don't care. You're making money. That's fantastic. However, I know for a fact that Dennis would spend 10 hours a week crafting up the plays on average, 10 hours a week. Over 52 weeks of the year, that's 520 hours he is spending crafting up the plays. He is saving you 520 hours because he's crafting the plays. That's how long it's going to take. If the sports system, it's $1,500 for a year to sign up, and you're essentially saving yourself 500 hours over a year. You're saving you're paying $3 an hour essentially, or you're earning $3 an hour by crafting the plays yourself. It's an absolute no-brainer from a time, energy, discipline, simpleness, just leverage your money to save yourself time and energy, which is everything that we say. It's just another way to look at it, which is why it's an absolute piss take. And you've said, Tom, you're like, every single person should join the sports system at least once so that you know how it works, and then you can make your own decision. And to those people, I'd still say, join the sports system anyway because of the fact that you're saving yourself so much time and energy anyway.
Yeah, so if you've made it to the end of this, hopefully you've got a better understanding of what's happening in the space right now, and also just be more mindful of the opportunities that present themselves to you and the decisions or the choices, I guess, that you're making every time you do gamble, those bonuses that come through after your multi or your horse loses when you're guaranteed to get one back. So if you make smarter decisions, you'll put more money in your pocket. And at the end of the day, for most people that are punting, you're trying to make money, and that's a very easy way for you to make more money or to lose less money, which ultimately is making more money. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. All relevant links that we've referenced throughout will be in the description below. You can reach out to us on Instagram. We'll send you a text after you sign up to the free course. Hit us up there. But yeah, most importantly, just take advantage of what's on offer right now, because who knows how long it'll be here or how many opportunities will present themselves in the future. Cheers.